Cricket West Indies a short while ago, just about 2 hours or so, announced the assistance to Andre Kohli and Darren Sammy. Yet still, they did not tell us why five members of the World Cup qualifier squad who should be in Dubai are not there. This ODI series against the United Arab Emirates were sold to us as warm up as preparations for the World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe. Then why less than half the numbers of the team that is going to Zimbabwe are in Dubai? Only 7 of the 15 players are in the ODI squad that is in Dubai. And Cricket West Indies need to explain that to us. Why? Is this really a warm-up match for the West Indies, warm-up matches for the West Indies? Or are they warm-up matches for the UAE? And how much money Cricket West Indies is getting for this 3-match series in the UAE when only half the number, less than half, the number of the squad that is going to Zimbabwe is taking part in this series. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. I know I veer off topic there for a moment, but then I have to say it. Now let's get back to the match that will continue tonight, the fourth and final day. West Indies having made 445 in their first innings and then bowled out Bangladesh for 205. They then made 220 for 5, setting Bangladesh 460 runs to win the match. At the close of play on day 3, with 1 day to go, Bangladesh A were 47 without loss. Now, the last 3 wickets this morning yielded 48 runs for the Bangladeshi, with Veerasammy Permaul taking all 3 wickets, with ended up with figures of 3 for 38 from his 13 overs. And as you saw in my topic there, I am convinced that Veerasammy Permaul and Kevin Sinclair is going to spin West Indies to victory in this match tonight. We are expected that performance from our 2 spinners. So the pitch is dry, it is keeping low, it is turning a little slowly, but the fact that it's keeping low, I expect these 2 spinners to just put a little more pace on the ball and we will get through the Bangladeshi. I expect that sometime after tea the match will finish. I don't see it going right down to the final hour of the day's play. I expect West Indies to win the match sometime after tea, with the spinners getting most of the wickets. Once again, Paul got to 83, and this is the 3rd time in the series that he's getting to 83, but this time he was not out 83, and maybe that Silva said, you know what, I don't want you to out on 83 again, so let me call you in on 83, although I would have loved to see him get another half an hour. I would have loved to see him get another half hour to try to see if he can get the century, for 2 reasons. The Bangladeshi expect you to declare at least 1 hour before the close of play. And you don't want to do what your opposition expect. You want to keep them out in the sun for that extra half an hour, get them more frustrated. Well, I'm mixing up my words here. Get them more frustrated, get them more annoyed. And I would have done that. I would have just extended the stay, hoping that Paul will get the 100 and to get the Bangladeshi more annoyed. Maybe if they were more annoyed, they would probably have lost 2 wickets yesterday at the end of the Thursday's play. But that would have been my strategy. I would have certainly extended the West Indies innings for another 20 or 30 minutes. Despite that, however, and despite they being 47 without loss, I am telling you that Veerasammy Permaul and Kevin Sinclair is going to spin West Indies to victory. And I'm confident that we're going to win this match and take the series 2-0 and look forward to the matches against the UAE. So that's the summary of the match. I'm going to go on and name the coaches, but just before I do so, let me take your comment. Welcome, Brian H. How are you? Click the like button. Thank you, Brian H. Greetings, Atina. Let's go, the champion, Mr. Casanova. Hopefully, we can beat UAE with that team. I understand that the IPL guys need some rest for qualifiers, especially Joseph. The champion are coming back to you, Mr. Casanova. Lol, wish he got the 100 as well. I also hope that he got the 100. No, I saw where Mr. Casanova said he heard that the high PL guys need some rest. No, these guys, tell me when last any of these guys play a match. Joseph hasn't played a match for about 3 to 4 weeks. The Hussein Shepherd and Ola probably 6 weeks. Powell also probably 6 weeks. And we know that it doesn't matter how much practice you get in the net. There's nothing like taking part in a game in the middle, especially a competitive game against a team that is in the World Cup qualifiers with you. So you cannot look at them and say, well, they are below us. West Indies should have sent these players. There's nothing like actually playing in the middle. No matter how much net session you have, there's nothing from playing in the middle. I understand the case of Puran and Myers, Puran and Myers, who played up to last weekend, up to last week, up to 1 week ago, they were playing in the IPL. Puran played 15 matches and Myers played 10. So that I understand that case and I understand the injury to Moti. So I bypass those three. Those three situations I understand. But for the life of me, I cannot understand the situation of these five. Any one of you can tell me when last Powell played, when last you see Joseph's name on the team sheet. When last Hussein played no match in the IPL. Shepherd played one match in the first week of the IPL. Older play a few matches, but for the last 4 to 5 weeks, Older played no matches. So why do they need to rest? Tell me, why do these five guys need to rest? They should be in the UAE. And again, it shows how weak West Indies is. Because Cricket West Indies should be saying to these guys, if you are not going to UAE to play these matches, you will not be on that plane to Zimbabwe. So tell us what you are doing. Cricket West Indies, it's time that the new president need to stand up to these guys. And I've said it so often in the past, there's too much player power in the West Indies team. So Cricket West Indies should have said to these guys, it shall serve them an ultimatum. And these guys should have been in Dubai to play in this ODI series. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Lol, the A team, at the A team level, Chanderpaul should score faster. We have discussed that then. We saw in the first innings of this match, his strike rate went up to 52. Yes, in the first innings of this match, his strike rate was 52, still slower than the other batsmen in the team. But in the second innings here, his strike rate went back down to 40 point something, say 41. So his strike rate in this second innings was 41. So we expect him to score faster. Good evening, Meredith, good evening. Now, so these are the persons that are assembling around Darren Sammy. I think Carl Hooper. I just want to say a word about Carl Hooper. We heard Carl Hooper said, and I think this phenomenon started with Carl Hooper. That's where I think where players like many times person will say an individual like Jermaine Blackwood just does enough to stay in the team. I think this phenomenon started with Carl Hooper, where Carl Hooper always just doing enough to stay in the team. When he himself admitted it, that he would not train, he would not practice. But when he was on a lean run and there were talks of him getting dropped, he would go into the nets and start practicing. Carl Hooper said it himself, not in those exact words. I am putting in my words. So I hope that experience that Carl Hooper has, that he will now able to change that culture, because he said that he regretted not training more often. He said that he regretted not training more. So now that he has regretted it, and he's now in a position to influence a more positive attitudes toward training. Let's see if he will do that. So Carl Hooper, Floyd Reefer, and James Franklin. I think James Franklin is from New Zealand. Those three will be his assistant coach. So those three are really the three persons that is going to really have Sammy's back. Those are the real three. Roy Lewis will be the team manager. Dennis Bryan will be the physiotherapist. And Roy Lewis, because these are the same two for Andre Coley. Roy Lewis will be the manager overall. He will be manager, whether it's the red ball team or the white ball team. Roy Lewis will be the manager. We have not yet have a schedule where we schedule like England, where we have two teams playing at the same time. The ODI team is in one part of the world and the test team is in the other. We do not have that situation as yet. So Roy Lewis, he will be the manager of both teams. Dennis Bryan will be the physiotherapist for both teams. Ronald Rogers will be the strength coach, strength and conditioning. He, he will be the same for both teams. He will be the same. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but he will be the same for both teams. Ronald Rogers will be the strength and conditioning coach for both teams. I hope you're hearing me. Just let me look in the chat and see if you're hearing me. I hope you're hearing me. If you're hearing me, please tell me, because I don't know what happened there just now. I just went blank, and I don't know if it had affected the audio. Please slash a like on the video. Don't click on the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe, and you click only once. So Roy Lewis, Ronald Rogers will be the strength and conditioning coach. I am thinking that Anthony Kepper would have been the strength and conditioning coach for the test team, because Andre Coley have been working well with Kepper, and they have won the CPL together, and then Jamaica Scorpion went on to win the regional CG Super 50 tournament, and Kepper was the conditioning coach then. So I expected that Ronald Rogers would have concentrated on one team, the other team, that the Summit team, and then Andre Coley would have brought in Anthony Kepper to be his strength and conditioning coach. But that was not to be. Ronald Rogers will be the strength and conditioning coach for both teams. Avanet Sitaram, who was the analyst when we won both World Cups, remained the analyst, and Daria Bartley is the media and content officer. So those guys remained in place. So let me just take your comment. Those guys remained in place. So apart from the three assistants, everybody else remained in place. They were always there. So there's no shake-up. There's no shake-up in that department. It's just that Sammy appointed Carl Hooper, Floyd Reefer, and James Franklin to his staff. The other members were always there in Cricket West Indies, and maybe they were appointed by Cricket West Indies. Let's see what Mr. Casanova, with so many assistant coaches with Sammy, I'm looking for a major ranking jump soon. I expect that too, Mr. Casanova. Romas 1983, how are you doing? Mr. Cricket Forum. It is not only about rest for the IPL players, but remember, these players have been away from their families for over 2 months. So I guess they were just given time to be with their family. How much time are they going to be with their family if they're going to fly from India to the West Indies and then fly back to join the team in Zimbabwe? How much time? And I'm almost certain that these guys have their family with them in India. You know, I understand the family situation, and I have always said there are some things that are more important than cricket, and family is one of such things that are more important than cricket. I understand that. But these guys, I have a very important World Cup qualifiers to play. They have to decide what steps they are taking. Because the same expense to come back to the Caribbean would be the same expense to fly their family to Asia. So I do not understand that. Loud and clear. Thank you, everyone. Sherwin, good evening and welcome to the show. Thank you, everyone. Samuel, thank you, Dane. Samuel Badji is missing. Was expecting him to be with Sam. That's a very good point there. But different folks have different opinion, and you want Sammy to choose the persons that he is confident in. That's what you want the coaches to do. You do not want to give them persons that they are not confident in. That's why you allow them to choose the players, the coaches that they're at. Good afternoon, Caris87. 3 assistant coaches. Yes, both have 3 assistant coaches. Very interesting. I guess it's a batting coach, a bowling coach, maybe a spin bowling coach or a fielding coach. I do not know how the 3 line up, but I'm sure one will be called batting coach and one will be called bowling coach. I don't know if one is fielding coach or you have a spin bowling coach different from a pace bowling coach, but I know one of them would be designated batting coach. Sheldon Smith, welcome to the show. Are we banking on Franklin to do the bowling training, or are we hoping that the players strike form? I do not know. This release just came, it just hit my email box sometime after 3. So I've not have time to study it, which is just over 2 hours ago. So I'm going to do some more work and then I'll get more information. But this one, just it, the email just some time after 3. Samuel Badri was also my pick. So Athena is saying to Mr. Casanova that Samuel Badri was also his pick. We need that's a very good one, Sherwin. Sherwin here saying that we need a running coach. So that's a very good one, Sherwin. If we are going to have fielding coach, catching coach, bowling coach, spin bowling coach, auto bat spin bowl coach, auto bat fast bowling coach, maybe have 2, of course. We probably need a running coach. Really thought they would bring Kenny Benjamin as a bowling coach. Kenny Benjamin is a part of Andre Coley's squad. Kenny Benjamin is a part of Andre Coley's squad. He is a part of it. There was no surprise when Kenny Benjamin with Coley, or there's no surprise there for him, Mr. Casanova. Shiv should sue the CWI for loss of earnings. Why do you say that, Sheldon? Why do you say that, Sheldon? So just let us look at Coley. We will look at Coley lineup because he has Kenny Benjamin, and let's look at those who Coley choose. And there's one very interesting one that I'm happy that Coley chose him, and it's Ryan Griffiths. Ryan Griffiths is the coach for the team in Bangladesh right now, and I'm very happy that he chose Ryan Griffiths. He seems to be a real tactical genius. He seems to know what he's about. So I'm very happy that Andre Coley have chosen Ryan Griffiths. So Coley's staff is Kenny Benjamin, Ryan Griffiths, Stuart Williams, and as I said, the rest of the team remain the same, with Roy Lewis being the manager, Dennis Bryan being the physiotherapist, Ronald Royals being the strength and conditioning coach, Sitaram being the analyst, and Dario Bartley being the media and content officer. So those remain the same as with Darren Sammy. So Andre Coley assistants are Kenny Benjamin, who more than likely will be the bowling coach, Ryan Griffiths, who I see as a real tactical genius. There's a lot I like about Ryan Griffiths. There's a lot of things that goes on in Bangladesh that he's doing it the way that I would have done it. And because of that, I think that he's a tactical genius. Stuart Williams, I cannot say much about him, but Stuart Williams was one of those guys who, again, was a very lazy guy when he was playing cricket. He was one of those who did not want to train. I hope he would have seen the disadvantages of not training hard enough, and then that he will change around the culture and get these guys to train. So let's see what Stuart Williams bring to the table. So I see your comment there. I know Kenny Benjamin. I know Kenny Benjamin with Coley, but he could have been in the white ball setup as well. Oh well, I understand. So Sheldon, you are saying that Shivnarine Chanderpaul should sue Cricket West Indies, but I do not know exactly why you are saying that he should sue Cricket West Indies, because now there's a little argument coming out that Shivnarine Chanderpaul was expecting to get the job, and that Darren Sammy got the job at the last moment ahead of Shivnarine Chanderpaul. There's more to be said on that, and I know that a controversy is brewing, a controversy is stirring, but I do not have enough evidence. I do not have enough information to say anything as yet. But there's a lot of rumors that Shivnarine Chanderpaul was promised the job, but at the last moment, they decided to go with Darren Sammy, because we are hearing that of only 2 candidates were shortlisted. I heard that something like 15 candidates or 17 or something like that applied for the job. There's one story that said over 20 persons applied for the job. My information is that about 17 applied for the job, but only 2 were shortlisted. As I've said to you, I have evidence that when the interview was done, well, not evidence, I heard from good source when the interview was done that Darren Sammy did not get the highest mark. There's some controversy brewing, but let us support the person who is there. Let us support the coach who is there. And talking about the ODI match that is going to play Sunday morning, it's going to be about 7:30 Sunday morning. And I've picked my team. I've picked my team for that one. Now, I expect these 7 players to be in the team. Why do I expect these 7 players to be in the starting 11? These 7 players are going to the World Cup. And if West Indies said that these are these are World Cup warm-up matches, then you expect the 7 players who are going to the World Cup, you expect it to benefit them. So Hope, King, Brooks, Carrier, Carty, and Chase, and Paul. Those are the 7 that are going to the World Cup. So I expect them to be in the playing 11. The other 4 that are put in the playing 11, I expect Athanaze to open the batting with King. That is my prediction, that Athanaze will open the batting. While opening the batting in last year's regional Super 50 tournament, Athanaze made 2 centuries. So I expect him to open the batting with King. Brooks will be at 3 because Brooks cannot bat anywhere else. And we saw in South Africa, Oak bat at 4, Carty at 5, and Chase at 6. They may switch that around. But then the other person that I'm going with, who is not going to the World Cup, is Kavim Hodge. Kavim Hodge was a member of the team of the tournament and should have been in the World Cup squad. But he's not in the World Cup squad, so I expect him to bat in this one. Carrier is in the World Cup squad. Paul is in the World Cup squad. And the 2 bowlers that I'm going to put in this team, in this 11, that are not in the World Cup squad are Simit and Jordan. I'm very impressed with Jordan, and it is time now that Jordan really play ODI and Test cricket for the West Indies. I'm very impressed with him. So that will be my playing 11 for the match Sunday morning against the UAE. I'll be bringing that match live. I will be doing a watch along, not for the entire match. I think probably for the second innings after the lunch break, I will be doing a watch along, but not for the entire match. But this will be my playing 11. Why don't you put your playing 11 in the chat? It will be a day and night match. It will start at 7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m. Jamaica time, which will be 8:30 in the Eastern Caribbean. It's expected to be sunny. The temperature just about when the match is going to start will be about 35. But being a day and night match, it will cool down some bit to 32 degrees Celsius. I think this is a match that it's going to be very funny because we are expecting dew in the night because the humidity will be somewhere about 60 degrees. So humidity will be somewhere about 60 degrees. So you expect dew. So which one do you prefer? To bowl with a wet ball or to bowl in the sun? So that's the decision that Cricket West Indies, the team, will have to make. If they win the toss, which one do you prefer? To bowl in a 35 degrees Celsius temperature or to bowl with a wet ball when there is dew? There will be humidity of about 60 degrees. So it comes down to which one they are going to do. But that is my 11. Put your 11 in the chat. Let's see what your 11 is. Kevin Sinclair for Chase. Kevin Sinclair for Chase, Mr. But why I wouldn't put Kevin Sinclair for Chase, and it doesn't make practical sense, is that Kevin Sinclair is not going to the World Cup. Chase is going. So whether we accept Chase selection or not, whether not accept because we need to accept it, whether we agree with Chase selection or not, the fact that he's going to the World Cup, I would not play Kevin Sinclair ahead of him at this time. But I really see Kevin Sinclair as a better player, as a better option to Ruston Chase. He's really a better option. Carries Sheldon Simmet as a former business owner. When I'm hiring, I'm looking for the person who makes me the most money, not the most educated. Sammy, he is a motivator of men. So I got, okay, make Chanderpaul quit from the US team and then ain't hire him. See the bride dread. Yes, shake me head. There's something that he actually asked Chanderpaul to quit, that Cricket West Indies asked Chanderpaul to quit and promising the job. But we have no evidence of that. That is just rumor. So we have no evidence of that. Many people do not know Chanderpaul. From report, he's a difficult person to deal with. Both Kohli and Rovman Powell had issues with him while he was coach for the Tallawahs. Then, yes, we have said that here that there were issues. Why James Franklin? Atida, I did a poll in this community. And the poll that I did, 92% of the persons who did the poll agree that Sammy should be the coach. 92% of the respondents agree with Sammy as the coach. If we agree that Sammy is the coach, let us trust Sammy. You may not agree with James Franklin, but trust the coach. Let us trust the coach at this moment and see what is going to happen. I think that we should trust the coach. That is my view. Trust the coach and his selection. Chase should not be there. Yes, Sherwin, but he's there. So we have to back him and hope that he does well. We just have to back him. We can't say that he should not be there. We have to back him and hope that he does well. Because if Chase does well, it will help the team to win. And in the end, we really want the team to win. Please slash a like on the video, please. And click on that subscribe button. So Caris responding to Athanate. Athanate, don't bother to ask. Caris, Chase is a lock for all formers. We have to accept it as the norm. Caris, I'm telling you, Chase will not play in that first test against India. If they play Chase ahead of Sinclair, you will see that the politics in West Indies cricket is beyond what we imagine. You cannot play Chase in that first test ahead of Sinclair. No way. It's not possible. And especially when Sinclair win this match tonight, whoa, how are you going to play Chase ahead of him? CWI should not have stated minimum qualification. That is where the problem lies. Has nothing to do with who is the better candidate. There's something called fair practice. Sheldon, I agree. I cannot disagree with anything that you said, dear Sheldon. But I also believe that the president should have the power to veto. I agree with you putting together an instrument, marking each players at the interview, scoring each player of the interview, and going with the highest score. I believe that. I believe in that. But I also believe that the president should have the power of veto. Because after all, he's a president, and in the end, it is his head that is on the chopping block. So I think the president should have the veto power. Well, when I say chopping block, I mean figuratively. I don't mean literally. So don't get me wrong. I don't mean literally. So Chase go to be in that first test, guaranteed. No, Caris, no. Sheldon and Sherwin, they're having a good little banter. Good match so far. Yes, it's been a good match so far. Chase never around, but always show up for the test match. So it has been a good match in Bangladesh, and I expect us to win that match. I expect us to win, as I said, just after tea. And then the test match between England and Ireland. Well, Bazball continued. Chris Broad blew them away. He got 5 for 51 as Ireland never stood a chance. I think Balbirnie and Tuckett, what's the guy? Tuckett, I think his name, who bats at number 4. Both batsmen hit them away for ducks. So Balbirnie bat at 3, Tuckett bat at number 4. And in no time, Ireland were 19 for 3 with their 2 best batsmen gone. Paul Sterling batted at number 5, made 30, and McCallum opening the innings, made 36. But that's all that Ireland had to offer, and they were blown away for 152. At the end of the day's play, this is the first test match, the first and only test match between England and Ireland. At the end of the day's play, England were 152 for 1, with Ben Duckett is on 16 at out and Zach Crawley 56. At this time, they trail by only 20 runs. So I don't expect this match to go into the 4th day. I expect this to be a 3-day match. Clearly, Ireland is no match for England. It's a good warm-up for the Ashes. The Ashes will be a much stiffer test. And so, please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. But please watch the final day of the match. Please watch the final day of the match. It starts midnight. Get some early sleep and get up and watch it. And watch Kevin Sinclair and Veerasammy Permaul spinning West Indies to victory. It's a long time we don't have 2 spin bowlers spinning a West Indies team to victory. Chase going to bat in 4 or 5 and bowling 20 overs against India. Ains not dropping him, lol. Well, I'm telling you, Caris, he will not be in that team. Please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. Have a great evening. One love, and God bless you all. Good evening.